Our name is, my name is Melissa, and this is Nathan. That's Nathan. And I loved that, what you just read in there, because that is so true to what we've experienced in the last year and a half since we made the move from perfect city life up to farming and animals and stuff. So
you said last year.
It was like,
yeah.
It was
October
of 2010.
So
yeah,
about a year and a half ago.
Things ended up going faster for us than we had a kind of a vision of how things would be 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. It all kind of happened in 1 year. So we'll kind of explain how that process goes. But yeah, it's been a learning curve for us. It's been kind of steep. And that was what you were saying was it was just spot on. The things that you learn when you're doing stuff with your hands, and I mean, who gardens? Like even like a little garden when you plant, there's things you have to do and rely on that only yourself can provide for that to be effective and work out. And so many of those things, you know, those are great. So we're glad to be here tonight. What a good cause and everything for putting this on. We wanted to just start with kind of give you a little background on where we came from, because it was October of 2010 when we were moving and driving a U-Haul from Palm Desert up to the mountains into Anza. And so, you know, go ahead with some things.
Yeah, I had some pictures. Well, we weren't raised on the farms. We were raised in the city. We were living in Palm Desert. We have 2 boys, one's 6 and one's 3, and this was our life, just living in the pool all day long. And oh, do I have it?
Yeah,
oh, and this is our life now.
No pool.
No pool. Hard work, tractoring down the land so we could build a garden. And our parents didn't farm or anything. We were just always from the city. And I kind of wanted to get a feel for who here is, do you all live in the city? And okay. So yeah, you just like us.
But there's something there's something that kind of, you know, there's something that strikes a chord when you get to thinking about a garden, and you get to thinking about a chicken, or you get to thinking about, right? There's something that, you know, and that's just kind of what happened with us. All of a sudden, I mean, after years and years and years of just loving summertime, because you'd float around the pool and you didn't do anything, and you know, you just hang out in your house and all that sort of, all of a sudden just something struck a chord. And
Tell them about the bread.
We were talking, we're like, one day we're like, let's make bread, you know? Like, can we make bread? So there we are for like a week, mixing flour and wheat, and, you know.
It was horrible.
We were trying to make bread for some reason. It felt like we were pioneers making bread, right? But that was kind of like the baby step for us as we got going. And I think that's probably natural in a lot of us that are in here tonight. It's something just gets you going. And for us, that was one of the first steps. We wanted to start make bread. And so there we were in the city, and we did it. And we made bread, and it wasn't very good, but we figured it out.
Oh, it would take us all day. Like, I remember one time it was like 4 in the afternoon, and Nathan goes, hey, do we have time to make bread? And we were like, okay, how long does it take to knead it on the counter? How long does it take to rise?
You know, we're just doing it. So it was kind of that mindset of like a little bit of maybe self-sufficiency, maybe emergency preparedness type of a mindset of let's make some bread. How would you do that if you needed to? And then I think the first step for us was like we were living in the city, and I said, hey babe, now mind you, this is like a solid marriage here, right? I go, hey babe, I was thinking about maybe getting some chickens, right? Like an eyebrow goes up, right? Because that's all foreign to us, right? But we did. We drove up here to Temecula, and over at Dan's feed over here, we got these little baby chicks. They were $2 a piece. And the boys were just ecstatic because we'd come driving home with a box full of, like, we bought 8 chickens. And
did we buy 8 of them?
Yeah.
In a box, in our car.
We bought 8 because we figured we didn't know what we were doing, and maybe we didn't know how it all worked out. We were kind of thinking.
And I'm kind of just like, why does he want chickens? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just glad for her support because that's what it was. That was like we joke around about it now, and we call it like our gateway farm animal because that's what started for us. And then we were in the city, and that was a transition for us, you know. And that first summer that happened, it went from wanting to go lay in the pool to wanting to go and do stuff in the garden, and wanting to go build a coop, and wanting to go make an improvement. I had no desire, but that's kind of you have to follow that for yourself, right? Because it's got to be that drives you. You know, it wasn't to try and save money on buying eggs at the store, because there's a lot of complications that come up, and it's not going to be worth it at that. You know what I mean? For that. So, anyways,
And I remember you saying too for your boys. You said, "I want my boys to know how to work."
Yeah.
And that hit me so hard when you said it. So I was like, yes, that's what drove us to it, was for the kids' sake.
Even when we were in the city, we had this little area. It was like 2 feet by 8 feet, and that's where we wanted to grow like a couple strawberry plants, a couple squash plants, a couple tomato plants. We just wanted to grow a couple things. I remember being out there with my boy, and we're digging, and we're pulling out rocks, and we're pulling out these things, and we're talking about why it's so important to get all this preparation done. It just seemed like there was lessons sinking into this kid, right? And it was like, wow, this is rewarding, we're doing this. But yeah, that's true. We were talking about it when we were thinking about this class. Our goal tonight is to tell you the things we've been able to do, things that have worked for us, things that haven't, and to kind of shed some light on how some of these things work. How does it work to start off with a baby chick to getting eggs? How does it work to start off with a baby bunny to,
having dinner,
if that's what you want to do. Up to pigs and cows and goats, and I think you guys have plunged through it. I know you guys live out in Garner Valley. You've got some chickens and some of it. So we're all kind of on our own little level right now, but we just want to explain how easy and doable these things are, because the internet and books, they're valuable, chock full of information resources, but sometimes it seems overwhelming. Sometimes you can look at something and it seems like, wow, that's intimidating, and it's really not. It's more simple when you just actually do your research and get into it. So that's kind of what we hope to do tonight, was just explain how long ago we were just floating in pools and where we're at now. Because right now we're in Anza. We've got 10 acres. We've slaughtered a couple cows. We've got a dairy cow. We've got pigs. We just had piglets on Sunday. We've got pork and beef in the freezer. We've had a successful garden that was a little turbulent at times, and it's all there for us. It's not as impossible as it seems sometimes when you're reading a blog about somebody or a how-to book on it. I remember, as good as that book is, I remember reading the section about cows thinking, I could never do cows. And we'd already had cows for like 6 months, but that book made it seem like I just wouldn't be able to do cows. It's easier when you start going through it, as long as you do your background and don't go in blind.
And then kind of going back to the beginning, when we did get our little baby chicks, it was just so fun to see all the stages. And then, I don't know if you guys know about chickens, Chicken 101. I had to learn a lot. But when they're 5 months old when they start laying eggs, and they are proud of their eggs. I mean, they're pretty quiet. We were in a neighborhood, South Palm Desert, where like everybody's really proper, and they just hoot and holler after they lay an egg.
They're so happy, right?
Yeah, they're just so proud of it. And so I remember another spark that happened was when I cracked open that first egg. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like what a grass-fed chicken's egg looks like. It's crazy. I don't know if you can see the difference. But there's these 2 eggs here. I gave a dozen eggs to a lady down in Palm Desert just a couple weeks ago. And she buys her eggs from Fresh and Easy, the organic free-range eggs. And this is her organic free-range egg, and this is our eggs. And you can just see the difference in the color. It's just bright orange.
They're happy eggs.
They're happy eggs. And so these are our chickens. They're wandering around in the grass, just plucking around.
Eating bugs and, doing what they want to do, We started learning as we didn't necessarily get into it because we had some great vision of some pure organic whatever. That sort of came along. But as you start learning about the way commercial things are done, there's all kinds of tricks they use. When they say free-range eggs, they're still in a barn. There's just a door open 1,000 feet away with 50 feet of sand, because chickens won't cross sand to go outside. But the door's open, so they're free-range. All these little tricks that you learn, they go, wow, that's pretty sneaky.
Where's that picture that I had of the barn?
Oh, it was kind of blurry.
Oh, okay, super blurry, because they don't want you to see how chickens really are.
100,000 chickens in a barn,
You'd have to look at this up close. It's so blurry. I got this off the internet.
Oh, wow.
But that's a barn full of
That's the free range?
the chickens. Oh yeah.
How did they get the
No,
eggs?
that, I don't know if that was,
I don't know.
that was just one of the chicken, that was
Oh,
like a
wow.
Tyson
That's
factory or whatever. But anyways, it's just interesting. There is truly differences in the eggs you crack open, the shells, how hard they are, how rich and bright orange those yolks are. And then you go to a store and or you go to like a restaurant and you get this pale yellow, egg, and it's just there's something to be said about how the chickens live a life, and everything. So